that's all I did was just sit there, look at the camera, say a few lines that he wanted me to say, and just sneeze.
So what is it about sneezing? Why is this a turn on for people?
From what I understand, the biggest turn on is that it is a similar to like an orgasm. It's like a build up and then that release. Another very good answer is the vulnerability. When you sneeze, you're obviously not in control of what your face looks like. You're not able to convey a sexy look or any. You're not controlling what the viewer sees, and the viewer just sees you in your natural, vulnerable state. And for a lot of these guys, that is the turn on.
It's a window into the real you.
Yeah, basically.
Do you feel like you have an unusually good sneeze?
I've been told it's loud. And like when I'm just sat in the office at work and I sneeze, like it takes people by surprise basically, because it's just a bit like, whoa. Yeah, it's quite loud, and I would say I've got an aggressive sneeze.
Like, how did you get into it? How did you kind of start creating content for this?
So I had most of my content is custom. I have a whole book of ideas that I've wanted to film and record, but I'm so busy with the custom work that's basically 90% of my stuff is. And I had a fan who had bought some previous work of mine, and he just sent me a message and he was like, "Hey, have you ever heard of this fetish?" And at first I thought, like, is he playing with me? Like, this isn't a real thing. And then I looked it up and I looked into it and I was like, oh wow, this is like a real thing. So I made a custom for him with me sneezing. And when I wasn't even going to list it for resale, it sold like 40 times in one day. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I guess because it was out there, I just kept getting more and more requests for it.
It was really random. But basically I posted a TikTok one day. I did 2 sneezes in this video. And after the sneezes, I just said, why do I sneeze like a man? Not expecting anything to come from it. And it got loads of views, loads of likes, loads of comments, a lot of people saying, oh, bless you, and stuff. And a lot of people favoriting it as well. And then one day somebody messaged me on Instagram and they was like, would you be willing to sell me your sneezes? And I was like, at first I thought this is really bizarre, like, but then I was also thinking, I sneeze every day for free. Like, anybody can see me sneeze. If somebody wants to pay me to sneeze, hell yeah, like, you can have them. So yeah, I started like selling my sneezes to this person, and then they recommended me to a friend of theirs, I think. And then I just kept getting more like messages and things on Instagram and that, like requesting sneezes. And in the end, I just decided to set up an OnlyFans because it's just all in one place, then, isn't it? And people can easily access it if that's what they want to see.
Yeah, I don't know if I could just like sneeze all of a sudden.
You usually can't. And it's funny because when I do have a sneezing fit, my first thought is, I don't have a camera.
Right, like if you can't control it, like, oh, I missed a golden opportunity.
So believe it or not, there is something, and I made sure to have it so I could show you, but it's a powder that is like menthol, and it's like all these natural spices and stuff that I'll show you. So when you take it out, it looks like this, and it's just a very finely ground powder. And if you just happen to sniff it a little bit, it will trigger you to sneeze.
So when you get to it, right, like, all right, you just sneeze one time and they're kind of doing their thing and they're trying to time it for right as you sneeze, or like...
There's been a couple of different requests. So some requests are a little more like you're mainstream adult video with the sneezing sprinkled in, right? Other requests are just straight up, I just want you to sit there and look at the camera and sneeze and blow your nose. There was, I think, for a 10-minute video at one point, that's all I did was just sit there, look at the camera, say a few lines that he wanted me to say, and just sneeze. And that was probably one of the hardest videos I've ever made and took a really long time. So 10 minutes took, like, I would say 3 hours to film.
Yeah, like how do you sneeze for 10 minutes straight? That's got to be really difficult.
You can't. Yeah, you can't. Your eyes start to water, and then you start getting like all mucusy and stuff, and it's hard to talk and stuff. So yeah, you got to take breaks. It's really not an easy video to make.
Are they looking for like a specific type of sneeze?
So I guess there is a popular sneeze. From what I found, no one likes the quiet little, the little demure, girly sneeze, as I call it. They want you to full out sneeze,
like,
just let it go.
Right,
loud, messy. Yeah, I've had requests to sneeze directly on the camera. Like, so there's like actual, hitting the camera. Yeah. It just depends, but mostly, like I said, they don't like the quiet little demure sneezes. They want you to go full out.
Some people like scenarios, so they liked like tickling induced sneezes and things. So like I'd say use a little feather and tickle my nose or tickle my feet or something like that, and they would enjoy watching that, and potentially end the video with either a snot rocket or a nose blow, like just blowing my nose at the end, and that would be that, really.
Now, are you like usually in these, are you clothed? Are you not clothed?
Some are more mainstream. They want a point of view, where it's a normal adult themed video, just with the sneezing sprinkled in. I mean, I've had the line, I want you to sneeze directly on my dick. And it was just like, okay, that's what turns you on, then sure, that's what I'll do. So it runs the gamut. It could go anywhere from, I had one scenario where I was role playing as a teacher, and while the college class is taking their exam, I just am sneezing and interrupting them. That's it. That's the whole video.
Are people embarrassed about it?
I feel like they are, because a lot of people apologize. So when they request something or when they suggest me to do something, they'd be like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Like I hope that's okay," and as if they're asking me for something really abnormal. But it's just sneezing.
To me, that seems like, it's pretty harmless.
That's what I think. It's just sneezing. Like literally everybody does it every day.
Why do you think then that there's kind of a stigma behind it?
Maybe because it is harmless. So maybe that's why people think it's weird to get off on that, because it's just an innocent little thing that everybody does. But maybe they're just scared that people won't get it, like they won't understand why they enjoy watching it and stuff.
I don't want to like sound judgmental or make fun of people, right? Because ultimately, like whatever you're into, do you.
Right, because I have a big saying here, and in my world, we don't yuck on anyone else's yum.
Do you feel like an outlet for people? Because I would imagine that this can't be an easy thing for people to kind of just say, hey, this is my jam.
Oh, yeah, I don't think anyone comes out like when they're dating someone and, it's like, oh, hey, by the way, I'm really into when you sneeze.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a, I feel like it's kind of like how the whole foot fetish used to kind of be something that people didn't talk about. And now, people make jokes. I'm going to go sell feet pics. that's become more in the mainstream and more acceptable. And I feel like as popular as this kink is, at least from what I can tell, that this will be something that people will be less and less embarrassed about. But sure, it's definitely an outlet for people who are not comfortable running around telling their significant other, what's happening.
Could you essentially make a whole living just off of sneezing?
Oh, God, yeah. Absolutely.
Well, that was like a quick yes, huh?
Absolutely, you could. If it wasn't so hard, the setup, the thing, if it came easier to me, I would probably focus on that, just because I think that someone that is capable of doing it, yeah, you stand to make quite a bit of money.
How come more people aren't doing it then, right? Like, if it's a gold mine, why isn't everybody rushing?
The vulnerability. There's a lot of women in general, not just models or performers or entertainers or whatever you want to call us, don't like to be seen in any other way except for our, prim, beautiful, done up ways. So there's a vulnerability when you're sneezing, right? You're not, I've laughed at myself at some of the, you pause the video and you get like the outtake and it's just like, oh, what is that face I'm making, And to put that out there it's hard, it's hard to put yourself to be seen like that. So that, and then, as I said, the third thing I think would be just because it is really hard to sneeze for 2 minutes straight, 5 minutes straight, 10 minutes straight. It's hard. And I didn't even realize how difficult it was until I made the first video. And it was like, wow, I need a break after all of that,
Are you ready for some harder / listener submitted questions?
Sure. Bring them on.
Are there different types of sneezes?
There's pig nose sneezing, there's stifles, there's giantess sneezing. So that's basically like you just have the camera low down to make you seem like a giant, like from the camera angle. But obviously there's aggressive sneezing, spray sneezing. I didn't realize that there was actually quite a few different types of sneezing.
Most popular type of sneeze?
The loud, obnoxious, like no holds barred sneeze.
This would probably have to be the pig nose sneezing. So basically, I would just do this. I would just lift it like this, just to give it a pig nose whilst I sneeze. Or a pig nose stifle. So again, it's the same. So just like this, but instead of like full on sneezing, you just kind of hold it back.
Is that because like they just want to see your nose? They want to see like up the nose?
Yeah, I think that might be, if they've got like a fetish for the nostrils and stuff, that's probably what they like to see.
Your most interesting request. Like, oh, that's not to say that it's this or that. Just like, oh, that's different.
In the realm of the ones that I have done, the most interesting one was to combine the sneezing with a tickling and a foot fetish. So that one was a trifecta of fetishes.
Somebody did ask me to sneeze into my armpits, which was okay. But then they said like, would you maybe grow your hair, like your underarm hair? Which I wasn't okay with. Like I was just like, no, I don't want to do that.
But you would have been okay with sneezing into the armpit. It was just like the hair part.
I
Like,
did
I don't
that.
want to.
I did sneeze into my armpit. Like after they asked for it, like I did it a few times. But then obviously, it got to a point where they did say like, would you grow your underarm hair? And I was like, no.
How popular would you say this is?
I would say it's up there.
Really?
I would say it's up there in popularity. It is still a very taboo. I know it doesn't seem like the thing that would be, but I think because it's something that is so non-sexual, you know,
Yeah,
that
that makes
that it's
sense.
still such a very taboo thing. Whereas you can make the case for, a foot fetish or a stepmommy fetish. You can see how those things relate. With the sneezing, I think it's still so taboo because, like I said, it's just still, I would say 99.9% of the population would never make the leap from sneezing to a turn on, right?
Are there other things that kind of go along with this? Like, okay, they like sneezing, they want to see this, this, and that. Like, what do people want to see besides the sneeze, so to speak?
So there are some, and I have done one or two of these where it's the sneezing and the actual mucus that comes with the sneezing. So there are a sector of this fans of this fetish that are also fans of blowing your nose or actually watching you blow your nose. I actually did a photo set where it was just photos of me blowing my nose, just with a tissue, holding tissues, blowing my nose in the act of sneezing. So there's also that whole nose and the mucus thing that comes with that too.
So, are people trying to like time their thing right as the sneeze? Because that to me seems difficult.
So there are certain requests to do that, and it takes a lot of camera work, a lot of editing to get it all put together the right way because it's not as much as I would like to make a video flow and just go, straight through and do the whole 10 minutes. Most of the time, especially with this fetish, that's not realistic. It's not going to happen that way. You're not going to sneeze for 10 minutes straight. And to do the timing right to where they're finishing while you are sneezing. Yeah, it takes a little movie magic to make that happen.
Mostly women, mostly men.
So my only openly, I actually have two female clients, and one that is particularly the sneeze fetish. Yes, and I just make her sneeze videos. Nothing else, just sneezing. That's the only woman I have ever known or ever heard to have this fetish. So
Are they ever interested in like, oh, we want you to sneeze, but then stop it, like the finger under the nose thing?
So it's funny. I actually, when you are going to sneeze or you feel like you're going to sneeze and then it stops, mid sneeze. You don't
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
particularly stop it on purpose. It just stops. Well, that happens sometimes with me. And it was funny because in one particular video, he had said, wow, can you do that again? And I was like, I wish I could duplicate that. But that was like a natural happening. That was not something that I made happen. But yeah, they're short. There's people that want you to stop. They want you to go full force. They want you to do the, where you keep like are going to sneeze, but you don't. There's as many different variations as there are of us human beings. There are as many variations to this whole fetish. I'm learning.
Does anybody, well, I mean, they're gonna now, but does anybody know that you do this?
Yeah, like my family. Yeah, yeah. The colleagues that I work with, my friends, my family. Yeah, that my family were basically the ones who like pushed me to do it. Like after I received that message off Instagram off that person, I went to my brother. I told my mom, and I went to my brother and I said like someone's asked me for my sneezes. Like I sell sneezes, and he was just like, "Do it." He was just like, "Do it. Sell everything." I was like, "Okay, I wouldn't go that far." um, but yeah, so yeah, people are aware. My dad knows about it, and he supports me doing it as well. So yeah, I'm not hiding anything.
Do you ever feel conflicted about it in every way? Not to imply that you should or anything like that, but do you ever feel like, should I be doing this? Or are you just like, no, why
To be
not?
honest, when I was in a relationship, I'm not now. But when I was in a relationship, it was a bit difficult because um, well, in my eyes, I thought it was harmless, like it's just a sneeze at the end of the day. But the person who I was with didn't appreciate it or want me doing it because they just saw like other men like wanting to buy stuff from me and stuff like that, and they didn't agree with that kind of thing. So when I was in that position and situation, that was quite difficult, and that's why I did end up taking a break from it for a while. Um, but of course, I'm by myself now, so I'll just sneeze away.
If people want to kind of connect with you, they want to get some of your content, they want to learn more, where can they find it? That kind of stuff. I think I.
Jazzsneeze underscore is TikTok. And then OnlyFans is Tutsie. It's TUTTSIE underscore 29.
So I am on several platforms, but it's the same name. So if you search Trophy Wife Nat, all one word, you will find me. I am mainly on ManyVids, and you will find a lot of my sneezing content on Clips for Sale.